Welcome to the Fitpreneurs, the show that will help you flex your business muscles so you can make more money and live the life you really want. No more complaining, whining, or being a wimp. It's time to pump up your fitness business and push yourself beyond your comfort zone. So no girly man or lazy ladies allowed. It's time for me to do some push-ups and turn things over to my friends AJ Roberts and Simon Lovell. Hasta la vista.
Welcome to the Fitpreneurs. We are on episode number 23 and I'm back in the UK and AJ is all the way over in San Diego. AJ.
Yeah, I'm excited for this episode. Number 23 is actually my favorite number, so it's bound to be a good one.
Why is that your favorite number?
Well, I was a huge basketball fan growing up, and Michael Jordan was number 23, and he's a legend. So I think most people can relate to that. Everyone was either a Chicago Bull fan, you either loved him or you hated him, but no one can argue that MJ is the greatest player to ever play the sport of basketball ever, period.
Michael Jackson was a basketball player?
Well, I was a big fan of it, Michael Jackson too. Well, in my younger years.
I can moonwalk all the way down the pitch there, turn around, just bounce those balls up and down with my monkey and throw it right in there, AJ.
It sounds like a South Park episode, and we haven't even got into it yet. What are we talking about this week?
We are talking about. I can feel it in my bones. It's going to be a good episode. We're going to be talking about brand new trainers to the industry. Are you a brand new personal trainer, coach, nutrition expert, but you really want to have an amazing start to your career? Well, this is going to be the episode where we go through 10 fundamentals to make sure that you have an amazing start to the industry, but also grow it so that really you generate the income you want to generate, you get the results that you want to generate, and really create the lifestyle that you want, which is, the reason why you wanted to go into this industry in the first place. Because I can tell you right this second, I've got enough data to tell you that there's a lot of trainers out there who are struggling right now. They're stressed, they're tired. But the thing is, if you're brand new to the industry now and you've found yourself at this podcast, it's fantastic news, because if you could be listening to this maybe one episode a week, and you go through the past episode and you start conditioning yourself to this material, you're going to set yourself up fantastically for what's ahead.
Yeah, and if you're an experienced trainer and you're listening, or you've been training for a while, it's beneficial to you too to kind of maybe relight that fire. A lot of times,
relight my fire.
A lot of times people are struggling, and a lot of it is because of boredom. They've been doing the same thing over and over and over again. It hasn't been working. The frustration keeps growing, and quite simply, they're just bored of doing that. And so maybe this will relight a fire. Oh, you didn't go that time. You left me hanging. And maybe it'll get you re-inspired in order to take your business to that next level moving forward. In
fact, I've just had an idea. We could call this episode the first 12 months, which I think would be a good one for us to call it. In fact, I'm going to make a note of that because I think that's an awesome idea. So hopefully if you're watching the episode, you'll see that it's called the first 12 months as my microphone starts to drop down a minute. So, guys, we're going to give you lots of information in this episode, but really before we did that, I thought that we'd just give you a background into how we first got into the industry. So I have a bit of a story. I went from school into, I was always very passionate about writing and playing video games. That's what I spent most of my time doing. I was bunking off maths classes to write my fanzine, which we sold locally in the shops. And actually, when I left school, I then worked on national video games magazines, and I got into publishing and the marketing side of things quite early on. And I actually started my own publishing business, but it didn't actually turn out the way I wanted to. Something happened with the bank, and they didn't give us the money we were wanting. And I actually found myself in a place of limbo, not really knowing what to do. And I thought to myself, what do I love to do the most? And it was actually training at the time. I got myself into pretty good shape, and I was like, I want to make a career of this. I love training myself, and I'd really like to help other people. And I think it was at that point I really knew that my life was about helping others. And my parents, they lent me the money to go to Cyprus and did the training course for 3 months. Of course, we had a lot of fun when I was out there. And that's where my personal training career started. I came out of that training for that period of time. I started to obviously get more education, but I went into the industry with so much passion and enthusiasm to help people. But what I did is, as you'll learn in the podcast, is that I, in parallel with learning how to be a better trainer and nutrition, all that type of things, I was always constantly learning about the business and marketing side too, which is why I became very successful. AJ, how about you?
Yeah, so I got my start. It was kind of strange. I moved to America when I was 16. I was a basketball player and had played for England and got cut from the squad and decided that I didn't need the coach's approval to move forward, and came over here with the hopes and dreams of going on and playing in college. But I came as a junior in high school, and in Oregon, they have this weird international student law where you can only play 1 year of high school sports if you're an international student. So we tried to get around that, and it didn't work. So my senior year, I actually ended up basically just being on the team as kind of I practiced and would train with the team. But I also participated. I ended up in a small town, and I was participating in American football and doing track and field as well. And so one of the big things our high school pushed was weightlifting. And so I was a part of the weightlifting club, and in fact, like, got obsessed. And that's where the passion for lifting weights came from. But simultaneously, I wanted to know everything there was to know about training and getting stronger, essentially, for sports. Because up until that point in England, I never knew that, getting stronger, getting faster, none of those things occurred to me that you would do it outside of the sport itself. Everything I did back home was training for the sport, was with the team. I never had a strength coach or anything like that. So I became obsessed with that and studied everything I could. And I'd be reading every single day. And actually, my senior year, I asked the weightlifting coach, who also was the football coach and also was our math teacher. I asked him if I could help program, and I ended up programming my senior year in high school under his guidance. And basically, by the end of the senior year, I had every record in the school there was to have. And I honestly believe a lot of it was to do with the knowledge that I was gaining. And so I decided I wanted to go on and go to college, and I wanted to, learn how to be a strength and conditioning coach. And so I went on to college. I volunteered in the weight room in college for 4 years. But the strangest thing was that every person, and we went through 3 different head coaches, and so I got to see, different staff units come through. And the one thing that rang true was none of them were making money. They were all struggling. And so at the end of college, when I was graduating, I got offered the job as track and field strength and conditioning coach. And their offer to me was $16,000 a year. And to me, that was just, there was no way I could survive, working on and making $16,000 a year. And a lot of that was because I'd been exposed to Ryan Lee, and I'd been exposed to online marketing. But I didn't know, how I was going to, make money. But I knew that there was opportunity out there. And so I actually ended up opening a small gym after college, and I was at that point in time very, very strong. My powerlifting career was, going up. I had the knowledge. I'd been working at the collegiate level for 4 years now, under different coaches. I'd learned a lot. And I thought, if I open a small private sports training facility, work with some fat loss clients on the side, because everyone said that was the bread and butter and you had to work with those people, I'm going to have a great business. So I opened this little gym, and lo and behold, I figured if I build it, they will come. If I'm great at what I do, people will sign up. And long story short, that didn't happen. I managed to get 5 kids over the summer. But of course, as soon as school started up and they had access to the weight room again, they were gone. I had a few personal training clients who, would start out and then they would miss sessions. And that was frustrating because I was used to, dealing with 100, 150 athletes during a day in large groups. And so I started, studying and figuring out, what makes a business tick. And that's when I stumbled across Fitness Consulting Group. And I called them up. I went to hire them to coach me. And instead, they made me a job offer that took me to Kentucky. And I ended up running the personal training department in their health club. A strange turn of events. And the manager of the health club left I think within a couple of months of me being there. And so I had moved into running the entire health club. And so while I was doing that, Pat and Nick were training me on sales and things like that. But what I really got passionate about was the marketing. And I noticed the guys that I followed, Ryan Lee, and then Pat and Nick, and they all talked about this guy called Dan Kennedy. And Dan Kennedy is the father of direct response marketing, so to speak. And I really got into learning about direct response marketing. And that's when I realized that the power, you have to be an amazing trainer. You have to know what you're doing. But the power is really not in the doing of the training. And in terms of, if you want to make money, you can't simply just train. You can make some money doing that, and if you have an amazing referral system and you're on top of it, you definitely can build a business that way. It's just going to take a lot longer, because if people don't know who you are, they don't know what you're doing, they don't even know you exist, they're not going to be looking for you. And I realized that the marketing of the thing, so the marketing of the training, the marketing of the gym, the marketing is what made or broke you. And so I dove into marketing headfirst, and I'm a very obsessive compulsive person, as many people know. You know, a lot of people call me an extremist, because when I want to learn something, I go full force. And so I started investing all the money I could into learning as much as I could about direct response marketing, both offline and online. And that's when I transitioned from running the health club to basically running the marketing for Fitness Consulting Group. And then together we built up over 12 businesses in the time I worked for them before I went on and started launching other fitness professionals. But, you know, my humble beginnings were all the way back in high school. And I really am grateful that I had a coach who allowed me to explore that passion and grow, because, you know, that was something that I think that a lot of people, they get into the industry and they don't have the opportunity to really, you know, have a mentor and really learn under somebody. They just dive head first. And so they never get the results that are needed in order to use the marketing, because it's the marketing of the results that really make the difference. But, you know, that's kind of how I got into it and kind of my transition. But that's when I discovered that I loved marketing. And I had actually never read a book until I got into reading business books and marketing books. And now, you know, I read 1 to 2 books a week, depending on my schedule. So it's been an insane journey, but I absolutely love it. And I love helping other fitness professionals, you know, who are so talented, but just don't know the business side of stuff, you know, learn the business side and then be able to showcase their brilliance to the world. And that's what gets me fired up now. But, you know, it's an interesting when I look back and I look at all the different things that are linked together. And, you know, I really have enjoyed my journey. And I know, knowing you and being as good friends as we are, I know your journey too, and how you've matured and grown and the experiences you've had. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
No, definitely. I mean, you know, when you first start out as a trainer, I can remember it only took me, didn't take me very long to, you know, get the Lunchbox diet published and then start my kind of journey beyond that. And just, you know, your first 12 months in this industry could be incredible. And something which I would say to any new trainer that's starting is this. Your income does not equal the amount of time that you're in the industry for, okay? Which, what I mean by that is, just because you're new, it doesn't mean that you can't be doing the big numbers and grow significant business very quickly. You know, you don't have to be in the industry for 2 years to suddenly be making 3-4 grand a month. You know, I've taken people from 1,000 a month to 20,000 a month in weeks, right? So it's, you know, someone who's 22 years old and has been in the industry for 5 months. So the point that I'm making here, you know, and AJ is making some fantastic points as well in terms of the growth and also the importance of marketing, which we're going to cover in this episode, is that, like, you now in this initial period, the first 12 months, it can be exceptional. It doesn't have to be slow, but the mindset has to be in the right place, which kicks us nicely off to the first of our 10 kind of tips or, you know, bits of advice for you guys, which is really to make sure that you've got the confidence and mindset in place. You know, something which I see a lot of people who first start with me, Fit Pros, is that they have some people have the confidence on the gym floor, but you've also got to have it within your business too. So being willing to put yourself out there, not worrying what other people think of you, other trainers, because you're new. When you first start as a trainer, you've got the knowledge that you've got at that time, and it's worth sharing. Okay, you may see other trainers on Facebook doing other things, and you may start to go, well, I can't put myself out there because, well, I haven't been in it for long enough. The truth be told, if you've got your qualification, if you can help someone get a transformation, you've got to think about the people that need your help, not about the people that you think are thinking about you that probably aren't. That's the key. So mindset is everything, not just when it comes to being confident on the gym floor and helping people, but really in terms of the marketing of your business, putting yourself out there and making sure that on a daily basis, you're not just conditioning your body, but you're also conditioning yourself for success.
Yeah, it's funny. I find that also a lot of people who've been in the industry for a while, not just the beginners, but those who have experience, if they've had tough times and failures, and I struggled with that first gym I had, and it was the most frustrating thing ever because I knew what I had to offer would change people's lives, but people weren't coming to me. I wasn't given that opportunity, and so you begin to grow a little bit bitter. And you begin to think to yourself that, you're undeserving or there's something wrong with me. And you start to kind of blame yourself a little bit. And the longer that happens, and I've met coaches who have been struggling for, 5, 6, 10 years, and their mindset and their confidence is so low because they've been beat up so many times. They've tried so many things, and they've not broken through, that they're constantly in that negative cycle. And so beginners have the lack of confidence because they don't feel deserving because they've yet to really make a market, and put their stake in the ground and transform, a lot of people's lives. They've probably transformed a couple, but, they feel like maybe, they need to put their time in. And then the old timers, so to speak, or the people who've been in the industry for a while, they don't feel they deserve it or it's not possible because they've tried and they've failed and they've tried and they've failed. And here's what's important with mindset and confidence. That is something that, I've been able to leverage my entire life. I truly believe if you want something, you can get it, no matter what it is. The problem is most people don't have the patience for it. And I remember when I was 14, I said I wanted to go to the U.S. to play basketball, and my parents shut that idea down. But I didn't give up on that idea. I continued to work it. For 2 years before I was able to go. And I had that mindset in a lot of other incidents as well. But it takes time. And so, like when I started powerlifting, I knew it was going to take me 10 years. I knew it was going to take me a long time to go from where I was to be a world record holder, but I put in the time. And then the same when I decided I wanted to lose weight. I lost over 100 pounds, but it didn't happen in 6 months. It took me 2 years to do. And it's not that you can't be successful fast. And success does come fast when it comes. So it doesn't really matter the time you've put in. But the problem that people have is their confidence gets damaged based on if they try something and it doesn't work. And what I find is in the first 12 months, for someone starting out, it may take them a couple of tries to really hit the nail on the head or hit the formula that works, so to speak. But a lot of people give up on that first time. So, for instance, I in my high paid trainer course, I teach trainers how to sell packages, I guess, but for $1,000 or $1,500 online. And they can sell it for more than that. But most people, that's a big stretch. They go from selling around $150 to $200 to, $1,000, $1,500. And the biggest mindset issue they have is who's going to pay me for this? And, the problem is if they get on the phone and they do 3 or 4 phone calls and they get no's, it damages their confidence and then they don't continue to try. And the thing is it just takes one yes to shift. But a lot of people play that game and their emotions are affected by what whether someone says yes or whether someone says no. So when they're getting, when the results are coming, they're on top of the world. They're the most confident people ever. They go, 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 go. But then when they get a shutdown, they get no, all of a sudden they go right back to that mindset of I'm not good enough. I don't deserve this. And then they stop doing what they're going to do. And they stop moving forward. And this is for both beginners and for advanced trainers. Like, you have to have that mentality that I'm going to push on through. I'm going to keep going and it's all going to come together. You just have to have the confidence that it's going to work. And for some people, it will take a week. Some people, it will take 30 days. Some people, it will take 3 months. But the key is you have to follow, you have to stick to the plan that you've set forth and attack it aggressively with the confidence that it's all going to work and it is going to get you where you want to go. A lot of people, they get off the plan the instant that something bad happens, i.e. something goes wrong. And, they put a promotion out there and no one responds to them. And they throw their hands up and say, well, that doesn't work, so I'm not going to do it again. And if you instead of analyzing it and say, what can we learn from this? And how can we move forward? And that's the thing, that's the beautiful thing with those that are successful and that move forward is when you look at why they're successful, that the biggest thing that makes them successful is constant action, constant imperfect action, and plowing through those times where there's the bumps in the roads.
Definitely. And you've just got to stay consistent, like AJ says, and everything will work out to be fine. You've just got to condition, like I said before, condition those marketing muscles just as you are with the muscles on your body. Number 2, challenge what you were taught on business by the training company. Now, I know that these companies are getting better at what they do, but what we have to understand, and you guys need to understand, is that when you went through your trainer qualification, I would imagine that the amount of business skills and marketing and sales stuff you got was probably a day add-on, or maybe a few hours. I was taught, get some business cards, put some flyers out there, charge per session. And, one of the main things you've got to do when you're going in to run a fitness business is, take that with a pinch of salt. Make sure you listen to our other episodes, because the model which you're taught from the training company that teach you how to be fit and healthy, they're not skilled with the business, the marketing, the sales, and there's a whole nother level of education if you want to be really successful with this that you need to start to dive into. And that is this episode. That's books that we talk about on these episodes. That's constantly reinvesting in yourself so that you go beyond what the training companies typically teach. And I know that there are going to be some training companies out there that do a better job than others, but just have a think to yourself, what did you really learn from that element of your training? Because here's the thing, if you can now, start to invest in your time and financially in the business and sales and marketing side of things, in parallel with you becoming a better trainer, because it's a natural instinct to want to do more qualifications, to do nutrition, to do kettlebell courses, to do pull check, whatever you want to do and whoever you decide to follow. It's a natural thing to want to go, right, I'm going to put all of my investment and effort into that. But the problem with is this is what happens. If you go solely and invest in just that, becoming a better trainer, when you can already get a result already, and I know that you're going to want to do that, what happens is this, in my experience, the more you do and invest in that, and the more effort and time you put into that, what happens is if your income stays the same, you start to get more and more frustrated, because it's like, well, I've got all of this education and now I'm not being paid what I'm worth. Where if you invest on the sales and marketing side, what happens is it goes up in parallel. So you learn how to sell yourself, you learn how to market yourself, you learn how to leverage your time, you learn how to open a studio. And so then your level of education really matches the income you're on, and that makes you a lot happier. So really the point here is challenge what you were taught on the business level side of your training.
Yeah, and it moves right on to point number 3 that we wanted to make, and that's stay results focused, but don't overinvest in training information and not invest in business skills. So while you're challenging what you're taught and looking for more, also realize that your investments, look at where you're investing, not only your money, but also your time. And the reason I say that is a lot of people work in the business and they spend very little time working on the business. And so if you're a trainer and you're in business for yourself, okay, if you're working for someone else, at some point, if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably going to want to break away, and you're probably only going to work for yourself, okay? And the biggest mistake people work when they're working for themselves is all they do is train, and they don't spend the time focused on the business skills. They don't spend the time putting the systems in place or running the promotions or focused on getting people in the door to make the sales. What they do is they train and they train and they train and they train, and they set themselves up so that they don't have the ability to do anything else. And that's why you have to really think as a business owner / entrepreneur when you go, regardless of where you are in your phase, because what would a business owner do? Well, a business owner would set themselves up so they can actually focus on building the business, focus on marketing, focus on sales. And you need to think of that as well. So when you're laying out your time and you're building your schedule, you can't just train people 10 hours a day, because when are you going to make sales? When are you going to run the marketing? When are you going to do the things that make it a real business? And so you have to invest your time and also your income on learning business skills as much as you do the training side of things. And you can be the best trainer in the world. But like I said earlier, I felt like I was, coming out of college, I was, top at what I was doing. But no one else knew that. And I didn't know how to tell other people because I didn't know enough about marketing. I didn't know enough about direct response marketing and how to get people to take action and walk through that door. And so I thought if I just train people, then they'll send me more people. And although referral work great, they don't always work. And that's something you have to have your marketing hat on. You have to shift. And it goes beyond just training too. This is in all areas of life. And I'll share this really quick before we move on, because I think it's important. If you're going to be successful in business and you're investing all this time, then you have to understand that, where you invest your time is what will grow. And so, if you're in a relationship, but you spend all your time in the business, because you're doing everything, then you're not spending time and investing in that relationship. So if you look at it like that, and the relationship will end and it won't last, right? So if you look at your business in the same way and you're spending all your time on training and not on the business side of things, well, your business isn't going to last, because yes, you're a great trainer, but if you're not running it like a business, it's just not going to be successful.
100%. Moving on to number 4. And this is about really mastering sales skills before the lead generation. The biggest complaint a lot of trainers make is, I need more leads, I need more leads, I need more leads. But actually, if you've got leads coming in, but you can't actually convert those into sales, and you're selling, for example, per session. I've actually just recently wrote a blog post on this today about, I'm not a fan of pay per session. But if you, for example, see 10 people and then you only convert, for example, 7 when you could be converting 50%, okay, then you don't need more leads. Actually, what you need to do is dial in the conversation and the persuasion of you talking to a prospect. Now, here's the thing. A lot of trainers obviously go into the industry were people that want to help other people. And a lot of people think, well, it's selling. I don't like selling, and it's manipulative. But what you have to understand is that it's simply the process of getting someone invested in transforming their health and fitness. And so one of the best skills that you can master is the skill of learning how to convert a prospect into a paying client. And that way, if you're able to do that, then you can increase your prices. And then if you're really confident in that area, then you can reinvest the money that you make into more lead generation if you need it. So again, one of the biggest mistakes is, well, I'm going to focus on, I need more leads. Make sure you invest in learning how to become a better closer. And I know that we use terminology that may be a bit of Wolf on Wall Street, but it really is just language, okay? But you are going to need to close clients. You are going to need to be better at sales, all right? And whether you need to change the wordage that you use against that, so from sales to investment or whatever you need to do, just understand that really actually what you're doing is getting someone invested in their health and fitness so that they don't go and spend money on crap that they don't need, and they invest in you. That's the key.
Yeah, and I think what's funny is that people think of sales as having to convince or manipulate or trick someone into, giving you their money, and they don't view it as that person investment in them. And a lot of that is because they don't understand the value that they bring to someone. So first of all, they think that they're just a trainer and they're just working someone out, and they don't understand the value that they bring in terms of the transformation in the person's life. No one comes to any trainer simply to just lose weight. There's a reason they want to lose the weight. And then that reason goes deeper and deeper and deeper. And so a good sales system essentially is not selling. At the end of the conversation, and I teach this in my prescription selling system, but at the end of the conversation, the person is asking you how they can get your help, right? And you are prescribing what the solution is to them. And so the biggest mistake trainers make is they have packages, so to speak, like you can train with me 1 time a week, 2 times a week, 3 times a week, 4 times a week. And the person specifically will tell them, look, I want to lose 30 pounds in the next 90 days. And the trainer will know how much that really is going to take 3 times a week, and they're going to have. And instead of prescribing them, this is what you need, they let the client or the potential client choose what they want, and then they try to deliver the results knowing that it's going to be near on impossible because they're just focused on taking that person's money. When if a sales conversation goes correctly, you'll understand why that person wants to lose the weight, why it's so important to them, and what habits they have that they need to change, and what their commitment level is. And at the end of the conversation, you'll be able to make a recommendation to them, and this is what you'll do. You'll be able to charge more money for it because that higher investment gets better commitment from them. And now they realize that you're actually the solution to their problem. They're not just coming to you because they heard about you from someone down the road who said you did training sessions for $25 a session. No one wants to be in the business of being paid per hour. You're not paid per hour. You shouldn't be focused on getting paid per hour. You should be focused on how much value do I bring, and what is that worth to the person? And how can you put a price on something? Let's say someone loses 100 pounds, gets married, has children, all because of the confidence they gain from that. What's the value of that to someone? That's $1 million body at least, if not more. And now you've had a ripple effect across generations because that person now has healthy habits they'll pass on to their children, all because you were able to help them. And so you have to start reframing your thought process on sales. We're all in the business of sales and marketing, regardless of what the product is that we have. Our product that we offer is training. That is what we're working with people on, is training or nutrition. But we have to be able to market it, and we have to be able to sell it in order for us to be able to help as many people as possible. And so it's our duty, really, to get good at sales, because without that, we're not going to be able to transform the amount of lives that we could with it. And really, you're screwing over the world if you believe that you have a gift and you should be working with people, you should be changing people. And if you're not, because you're too scared to sell, then there's an issue, because you're basically holding back what it is you've been put here to do because you're too scared to ask someone for some money. So you got to get comfortable with sales, and a good sales system set up correctly, you'll be closing 4 out of 5 people, and so you won't need that many leads in order to reach your monthly income goals.
Definitely. Now, as we hit the halfway point here, I thought we mentioned, guys, if you're enjoying the content, you're enjoying the episode, please let us know. You can reach out to me or AJ, facebook.com/boylevel or facebook.com/AJ Roberts. Also, head to iTunes. We really, really do read your reviews, and we'd love it if you could spend some time. We do this podcast for free, so even if we could just get a little stimulant of seeing your 5-star review and comment on the iTunes thing, that would be awesome. Also, you can obviously post questions to the Fitpreneurs page on Facebook too, subscribe on iTunes so you don't miss an episode. AJ, next one.
Yeah, so next one is really to decide on your niche, and this is important because you shouldn't do anything just because someone tells you that that's where the money is. What you should do is figure out what it is you love to do every single day, who it is you love to work with, and then that's what you should do. Because if you don't have the passion to work with a certain niche, so a certain niche is a demographic or a group of people, then you're not going to survive in this industry. You know, you'll do it for a few years and then you'll be so tired of it that you'll be looking for the next thing. So regardless of what people say, you know, the money is in working with weight loss and you know, you got to figure out what it is you love to do. If you love working with athletes, then build your business to work with athletes. If you love working, like if you're a kettlebell guy and you love just kettlebells, you know, don't open a full-fledged gym. Open a kettlebell only gym. There is people out there who are succeeding in micro niches because, number one, no one else in their town is offering what they're offering. They have the angle of being completely different. The other reason is they're a specialist. They're the specialist for certain things. And so anyone else who is looking for someone or looking for a trainer in a certain, you know, for a certain thing, and they find someone who's exactly what they want, that's the guy they're going to go with. And it allows you to become more than just a local celebrity. You can become a global celebrity as well when you're niched in, and that will help grow your business as well. But the biggest mistake people make is trying to serve everybody at the same time. And so on a lot of times on their marketing or on their business cards, whatever, they'll have, you know, fat loss, strength training, you know, muscle building, and they have all these different things. And if you're just a generalist, no one is going to seek you out because, you know, they're going to assume that you just average at everything. You're not great at one thing. And so you need to become a specialist, and you need to really pick a niche that you're so passionate about that you could do this for the rest of your life, that you're not going to get burnt out on, and you're not going to be looking for a way out in you know, 3, 6, 12 months from now.
Definitely. So number 6 is don't worry about your website yet. You know, we've done an episode on 7 website tweaks, which is going to help you once you get to do your website. But if you're brand new into the industry, what I don't want you to do is think, right, I've just qualified, you know, it's my first month or two, and I've got to have a website. And what about the SEO and stuff? You know, I can remember the days when I was sat there on the computer and I was playing around with the plugins and I was trying to do all this website stuff and the stress of it and the SEO and what do I do? Listen, a website really helps. I've got a blog. AJ's got a website. But what we're saying is, in order to get going and make your first $5,000, $10,000, whatever currency you're in, like I see people so homed in on, like, I've got to get a website, I've got to get a website, I've got to get a website. Here's what's going to happen. I can guarantee it, because right now your level of education in terms of website stuff isn't right there. And I would definitely recommend you go to the episode on websites to do this. But you might end up getting if you don't do it properly, you'll get a website which really just doesn't make you any money, and you spend a few grand on it, it just doesn't do anything for you. Better for you to learn and get an education on the sales and marketing, get some clients on board, use some social media marketing, do that type of thing, and you'll find very quickly that you don't actually need a website, and actually you can get your first initial clients from people that you know, and then referrals from them, and then some social media marketing. And you're like, well, you could probably actually run your business without a website. If you actually look at the amount of trainers that I coach to earn the bigger numbers and go, well, how much the business is coming through the website, is actually very little. So I would say that yes, a website's a good thing, but have it be a transition point. Because you're not going to suddenly put a website up and suddenly you're going to get loads of people in your area, contacting you. It's not going to happen like that. So just make sure that your focus initially is with getting those initial clients, working on referral systems, going through our kind of training in the Fitpreneurs and building it up kind of organically, and then transition into that once you've got, a decent investment and also time to really make sure that you do it properly.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I spent my first website I had built for me for the training business. You know, I did the SEO, so I bought SpokaneFatLoss.com, and I paid $5,000 to have the website built. Had X amount of SEO articles created for it, all on the topic of fat loss and weight loss and all these different things. And they put it up, and a month goes by, and 2 months goes by, and the website did nothing for me, because the truth is, if you just build a website and set it up, no one is going to stumble upon it by mistake, because they're not looking for it. And so unless you master like Google Places and you're able to show up on that first page, and then you'll maybe get some people come through, which is way more work than it's worth, in my opinion. And I used to be a huge SEO guy, but things change, and you start to see new things. But the real purpose of a website is to have a place that you can put content and then drive people to it. And so if you don't have a website, there's other places you can put content and drive people to it. You can just make a post on your Facebook page and drive people to it. You don't have to have a website in order to generate business. And I think that's the biggest mistake people made. website. Eventually you will. The world is going, completely mobile, and you're going to need a website. It's not something you don't want to have, but it's not something you should, if you don't have the money, if you had to decide, I have $3,000 within my business right now, what shall I spend it on in order to grow? My advice would not be to build a website. My advice would be to go and do paid traffic with it, Facebook ads to, content, or which is like a squeeze page to grab their email and then be able to get them into a free training session or strategy session, whatever you're doing. It would not be to build a website immediately, because you can build your business very successfully without one. And I actually have a client who is making about 25 grand reoccurring revenue each month, and they've only just now started to build their website. So, it's one of those things where you don't have to have a website in order to make sales. You don't have to have a website in order to advertise. You really don't have to have a website in order to do anything nowadays online, because there's so many other platforms that you can leverage and use and create your pages on and create and add your content to, that it's just, it's something you will want and you will want to invest in at some point. But like Simon says, it's not something you need to do immediately in order to generate sales and get new clients.
Yep. Next one is don't sit around with trainers who are doing nothing. It's very easy to, spend most of your day conditioning yourself to be around trainers that are failing, all right? And while they're sitting around twiddling their thumbs, and I see so many trainers do it, you could actually be there out there marketing, building the business and growing and getting the lifestyle that you want. Something that's really important to do is not just go, right, I want to earn, $3,000 a month, $5,000 a month, but have a reason why you want to do that. What's your driver? Is it a new car? Is it an experience you want to have? Is it a new house? Is it some big thing that you've been looking to do all year? Because really you can get what you want. You can create some huge lifestyle changes, but most people sit around the same income month in, month out. They're constantly on a £1,500 a month, $2,000 a month, and they're consistently at that number. And that's because of the conditioning that's there, because, well, these other people are doing it, and that's the norm in the industry. You don't have to be normal. You can be exceptional, but you're not going to be exceptional if your peer group, the people that you spend most of the time around, and that's going to be those that you're in the gym with, are actually conditioning you to their model of the world. And most people's model of the world is, right, I'll make you a regular wage, I earn this amount a month, every month I go into my overdraft, I go home, I watch telly, and that's the normal cycle. If you're on this podcast, it's called the Fitpreneurs for a reason, okay? And that's because we're creating entrepreneurs from fitness professionals. And so this is about creating a new breed of trainers moving forward. And if you want to separate yourself, then you're going to need to do different things from the other trainers. So if they're sitting around, they're not doing anything, they're moaning about not having clients, that doesn't mean it needs to be your reality. It's only the action that you take that's going to create a different reality for you.
Awesome. Yeah, number 8 is get your systems in place. And really, all a system is a checklist that lays out exactly how to do a certain task. Okay, and so you'll want to start creating your systems from the very beginning. And, the biggest thing that I hear a lot actually when I'm talking to trainers, a lot of trainers think their business is struggling because they don't have systems. And when I talk to them, what they really mean is they don't have any promotions or any advertising or any marketing, which all become a system, right? Once you run a certain campaign or you run a certain promotion, if you've documented, what you did and how to do it, then you can roll it out and do it again. But if you don't, a lot of the times you just never will run it again because you didn't document anything. You didn't create your checklist. And so as you go through and as you go on, you want to create your systems, because what's going to happen is if you're growing your business at the pace that you can, at some point you're going to have to make your first hire. And when it comes to making a hire, the biggest thing that people struggle with is everything they know is in their brain. And they haven't downloaded that onto paper. They haven't been able, so they can't share it with someone without spending a lot of time with that person to teach them. And so what you want to do is get your systems in place. If you have a training philosophy and the way you build your programs, document it. If everything from, you also know how to run the gym, how to open the gym, and what to do at the beginning of the day, and what to do, during the day, and what to do at the end of the day. If you have a receptionist, or you got a phone and you're answering the phone. You want to document the script that, what you say when someone calls and what the process is. And you want to create the checklist for all of these. And all really systems it takes for people to do is just start documenting. And most people just are lazy and they don't do it. So when you get your systems in place, it allows you to scale and grow quicker, because when you bring someone on, you can give them the systems to learn and go through, and then they can ask you questions that they have, but you don't have to spend the time sitting with them downloading the information to you from your mind to them in order for them to be able to proceed and do what it is you brought them in to do. So get your systems in place early at the beginning, and as you grow, then you can add and add and add and add.
Yeah, this is a quick one, but just as you're scheduling a training session for yourself, maybe you train with a client, make sure you schedule in time for your marketing too. Maybe do a post in the evening, between 9 and 10 o'clock in the evening is a great time on Facebook. In the morning, maybe do a post. Maybe you set yourself that every day of the week you're going to phone a company to do a potential joint venture with a smoothie bar, with a chiropractor, something. But just schedule in your stuff. Now this year, one of my morning rituals is I do a meditation. I do my green juice in the morning. I have this pattern which I run, which is really powerful. But this day today, now we're doing the podcast, is planned like from literally 6 o'clock in the morning until I go to bed. I know exactly what I'm doing throughout the day, and I've got all my outcomes set. And this makes me super productive. A lot of people are overwhelmed with not knowing what to do, and should I do this, should I do that? And that's because they've just got nothing set in stone that they're doing throughout the day. So what happens is, and I'm guilty of it to a certain extent, I'm sure we all are now, but you just end up going through the news feed all the time, and you'll be there on your phone in between sessions doing that, and just actually take that time and turn it into action. So really schedule your time and know what you're doing on a daily basis, so that every day you're just chipping away, because it's that consistent action that's going to get you the results.
Absolutely.
Awesome. This was a nice pause, AJ. I thought that was an awesome pause.
What number are we on?
Number 10 is hire a business coach or mentor. The thing is listen, both me and AJ do this for a living, but here's the reason why. You take someone from A to B. You take them from lacking in confidence to feeling great about themselves. You take them through a process. You've been taught now how to train somebody, give them their nutrition. You're guiding somebody. The biggest thing for a lot of trainers is that they're incongruent if they want the business to grow. Like we're presuming you're on this podcast because you want to grow the business. And so if you want to grow the business, it's like someone not hiring you and doing it on their own. Okay, so whether it's us, whether it's me, whether it's AJ, whether it's another business mentor or whatever it is, whoever you decide, whoever you resonate with, because you're going to naturally go to somebody. Let me tell you something. In my experience with my own growth and the mentors that I've hired, it's so costly for you not to. For what you're going to learn versus the investment of what it costs to hire them over the course of a year. In fact, when I first hired one of my coaches, he was $30,000 for the year. And if I hadn't hired him, I wouldn't have made $500,000 in my first 12 months with him. So I'm just saying that what a lot of trainers, they need to, and you may be the same, or you might be slightly more business skilled orientated, is that you've got to understand return on investment instead of cost. Okay, when you switch from it would cost me X amount of clients to pay for this versus, oh my God, it costs that, I don't want to pay that, I'd rather pay for a holiday or pay for something nice. Okay, you've actually got to look at, if I invest in this coach and mentor, they will guide me, they will make me a lot more money. Therefore, I can have loads more of the stuff that I really want, but I'm gonna have to sacrifice some of the shiny objects and things that I might want now. So that's just my personal view based on my personal experience.
Yeah, and what's funny is, I'll be honest here, is that the most successful people in the world, regardless of whether it's athletics, regardless of whether it's business, have coaches, right? No one goes at it alone. There isn't a team in the NFL that doesn't have a coach. There isn't a team in the NFL, in the NBA, that doesn't have a coach. There isn't a team in the NBL that doesn't have a coach, right? And so trainers will want to charge money for their services, yet will not invest in services themselves, right? And so, you should be investing in mentors in as many areas of your life that you want to improve. Okay. And it's funny because when we go to school, when I was 18 and I went off to college, I had to get loans to go to college. And, to me, in my experience, there is very few people that actually need to go to college to do what they want to do. Education, I look at education and it frustrates me because people are not set up for success from education. They just learn stuff and then they go in the real world and then they have to get educated. Okay. And so I'm not a huge fan of the current education system in any way, shape, or form. Yet people will invest hand over fist and have $100,000 in debt to learn something that they think is going to help them in their career. And they'll go out, and trainers especially will then go and spend thousands upon thousands of dollars getting certification after certification after certification, and then wonder, why is my business not growing? And then you have a conversation with them, and you make them an opportunity to move forward with you. You'll hold their hand. You'll help them grow their business. And they don't take it. And their excuse is always, I don't have the money to invest. And the thing is when I was in college, my sophomore year, my first year, because I was an international student, I had to have co-signers on my student loan. My second year, the people who co-signed said they couldn't co-sign anymore. So I had to figure out a way to afford to stay in school, because at the time, that's what I believed was important. And so I explored every single avenue there was until I found a solution, and I worked my butt off to be able to afford to continue on in education. And I have continuously invested in multiple masterminds and buy products and invest in learning and things like that in the business side of things, because in my experience, the more I've invested, the more return on investment I've had as long as I've taken the action. And so it makes no sense to me that trainers are constantly reaching out for help, and then as soon as they hear a price, they run away. And it doesn't really matter what the price is. They don't want to invest anything. And maybe it's a fear that the mentor isn't going to get them to where they say they're going to get them. But there is so many mentors out there. As Simon said, me and him both work with personal trainers and gym owners and people in the fitness industry to grow their business. And our best clients are those that have invested the most amount of money with us, because they're the ones who take the most action. And it's not coincidence. It's just, they've committed. And when you commit, now you have to follow through. And so if you're struggling or you're just getting started, it doesn't matter where you are. If you're not working with a mentor, then the first thing I would advise is go out there and find someone that, like Simon says, you resonate with, someone who you think he's going to be able to take me to that point where I want to go, and pay them whatever it is they're asking you to invest in, because I promise you they're not charging enough for the value that you're going to get in that relationship and in that time period that you work together. And so if you have any fear about it, you have to ask yourself, what is the real fear? Because if I am a trainer and I ask someone tells me they want to lose, 50 pounds of fat in the next 90 days, and I believe 100% that I can get them the results, I can say whatever number I want to them because I have the confidence that I'm going to get them the results. However, if I don't know if I can get the results, then I'm not going to charge that much. And so if you are in your mind are not someone who gets results for your clients, there's probably the reason you're not investing in mentors, because you fail at what you're supposed to do. And so you think that the mentor will fail as well. And the thing is that the reason you continues to fail is because you don't have someone to point you in the right direction. You don't have someone who just can say, look, this is the easy way to do it. And there is a lot of BS out there, and there's a lot of stuff that people preach that is old school, so to speak, that isn't working. The times change so fast that, there's a lot of things. And so you may have been, I don't want to say burnt, but you may have invested in a product, or you may have invested in something in the past and it not quite worked for you. And that's a lot of the times because things are changing so fast. But don't be scared to invest in order to grow your business. And I would advise do whatever it takes in order to get a mentor and to work with someone. And if you're someone who's not in a position, like you legitimately are not in a position to invest, and I understand that some people out there are in that position, find someone you can intern with, or find a mentor that you can go work for and learn everything you can from them, and then get to a point where you're ready to go out on your own and hire a coach to hold your hand to move forward. It's so important that you don't go at it all alone on your own and try to figure this stuff out yourself, because you're going to be banging your head against the wall when, someone like me or Simon can just basically say, hey, look, this is the sales system to use. This is how you get leads. And you'll do it and you'll be like, man, this is so easy. Well, guess what? We've spent years and years and years and years and years testing this ourselves, working with clients. And so we get what works, and we're constantly on top of things because we understand that in order for us to grow our business, we have to get amazing results, exceptional results. And so that's what motivates and drives us. And so you should have the faith when you invest in a mentor that they're going to take you from where you are to where you want to go, because they're the ones who are investing. I don't know how much money I've personally invested, probably close to $500,000 now in my career on education and learning and in mentors. And, unless you want to go ahead and do the same thing to learn what I've already learned, it would be a lot smarter and a lot easier for you to just, hire someone who has gone through that process, so you don't have to make the mistakes they've made, and they can guide you and put you right on that success path, so you don't have to have those ups and downs that so many people go through.
Yeah, and just lastly on that, which is something which is key, which is about the peer group and also the expectations. Something which I find with a lot of trainers is that there's such low expectations on what you can earn. Most people are like, well, can I really do $5,000 a month? Like, you can do 20 grand a month, you can do 30 grand a month. But if your model of the world is only based on what you're around, and so once you get into a mentorship group, you're not only going to be learning from that mentor, but you're probably also going to be learning from other people in a similar situation that have already been where you are, that are now doing, triple, quadruple what they expected that they could do, because they're raising their standard and they're raising their level of what they believe is possible, and now their lives are changing pretty quickly. So this has been a crazy cool episode. I think it's just going to be such a valuable one for everyone listening. And as always, we have a weekly challenge. So what we want to do really is, if you're a new trainer and we're presuming this is your first 12 months, is if you're brand new right now, just go and get your first client, go and talk to people that you already know, go and offer out some free sessions and then convert someone into a paying customer. If you're within your first 12 months but you're still lacking in clients, then start doing things that are uncomfortable for you. And you can generate more money than you've ever generated in your life in the space of 7 days. Most people think it takes a week to do that. A month to do that. But if you commit and you say, right, this week I'm definitely going to sign up 3 or 4 new clients, get super specific, go into action, and try and double what you would normally do. Okay, always push the bar. Don't ever be looking, you shouldn't really, if you're a fitpreneur, you should, every month you should be going, right, this month I started on 1,000 a month. The next month is 2, and then it's 4, and then it's 5, and then you scale up and you go up. And as you start to grow the income, what will happen is you'll get more clients on board, and then you'll be like, well, now I don't have really much time on my hands, so maybe I need to hire another trainer in. And then you start to grow there, and then you open a studio, and then from the studio, you maybe open a second facility. So there's where you are now in the first 12 months is the start of a very long journey. And me and AJ have been talking about this when we were recently in Thailand, about this whole journey of a fitpreneur. And we're going to be presenting a lot more of this stuff in the future when we start to talk about events and so forth. But really understand that, really take this on board. What your limit in your head is of now of what your earnings and impact on the industry can be is nowhere in relation to what it really is, because it's a lot bigger than you think it is right now. So
yeah, I think most trainers should be able to make a minimum of $10,000 a month without much effort in terms of difficulty, right? If they have the right systems in place, $10,000 a month is an easily attainable goal. And so, for any new trainer out there, How fast you want to get there just depends on how committed you are to getting there.
Mm-hmm. So, AJ, do you want to do the question of the week?
Sure. Question of the week comes from Craig Fletcher. He says, question for either of you, awesome Fitpreneurs. I run a strength program at the gym that initially started out as a strongman class. The program is called Everyday Strongman. Pretty catchy. I've stuck with the concept for a little while, and it's yielded some return, but as time has passed, I've developed as a coach, and what I want to do. Moving into the new year, I'm trying to separate myself from strongman, i.e. limited market, and push more towards a strength and conditioning program, including strongman, powerlifting, Olympic lifting, and field athletes. I pitched my previous program a little differently and had great results filling up my class. The only thing is, it took convincing that it wasn't just strongman because that is the name. So after the long-winded explanation, my question is, do you think I should rebrand, and should I do it now? Or I just started a 6-week program. I should do it once the program is finished. I love the show, guys, and appreciate any info you may have for me. Thanks in advance. You want to answer that, or you want me to take it?
Well, I was thinking because, you're like strongman, like power lifter, like you'd like this one.
Yeah, I would just rebrand, and I would just change it straight up and rebrand and call it something that would appeal to anyone like that. So, everyday strength basically eliminates the strongman, and strength, means what it means to each individual.
Yeah.
And you can use whatever you want. And, I would rebrand it now. And that way, when you launch your, next 6-week program, the branding's in place. You've got the results from this 6-week program that you can use and showcase. And none of the new people coming in will know any wiser.
Cool. Yep. And also don't forget also that, you can use different segments of the market to attract them into the program. I have something which is called like a fish hook strategy, because sometimes you fish for a fish with different bait, right? So, you're going to have this main signature program, but you can actually put, different messages out there to suit that market. For example, in fat loss, you've got confidence, you've got energy levels, you've got dieting, you've got stress, you've got cellulite. All of those things can attract different things that people are needing emotionally into the same program. So even though now you're going to be rebranding, think of the different things that are going to pull people into the program.
Awesome.
Brian Gordon has asked the question. I don't think we've done 2 questions before. We're doing double the amount this week. So Brian asks, I need a payment collections and contract system for my members. How do I go about doing that? Could you recommend a company to use? A lot of my clients use Go Team Up or MindBody. And this is actually a really good question for this podcast, which is about how to take payments and move forward in your first 12 months. So yeah, Go Team Up, MindBody. I don't know if AJ, if you know of any.
There's lots out there. I think the key is to find one and stick to it. I found in the past what a lot of people do is they jump between ones. Like they'll sign up with one, and then they'll hear if someone will tell them something else is better, and they'll switch over. And so, my advice is to pick one and stick to it and learn, everything there is to know about that, so you can utilize and maximize it for your business. And, like I said, there's a lot of different ones out there, and I don't think any of them would be in business if they weren't good. So, the 2 that you recommended, I know are very good ones, and there's some others, but, I find that those kind of questions, and this is just for everybody, I find that if you're worried about that kind of stuff, you're worrying about the wrong thing. Pick something, go with it, and focus your time on stuff that is, important in terms of growing the business and making the business, extraordinary.
This week's quote is from George Halbert, and it reads, "Do not wait. The time will never be just right. Start where you stand and work with whatever tools you have at your command, and better tools will be found as you go along." I think that's a great quote for this episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
So guys, thank you very much for listening to this amazing episode for you in your first 12 months of your personal training, fitness, coaching career, whatever you're deciding to doing, or if you run a dog business, because I know we have a particular fan who runs a dog business. I don't obviously he helps dogs do certain things with them when they're pooing or something. I don't know. So thank you if you're that listener. I hope I haven't offended you. I'm just quite random. If you enjoyed this episode, guys, please head to facebook.com/fitpreneurs. Give us a rate on iTunes, please, a really positive one. Now I said that, hands up. Sorry. Yeah, give us some feedback. We'd love to talk to you. If you're looking for a coach or mentor, we'd highly advise it. Then you can connect with me and AJ on Facebook, facebook.com/boylevel, facebook.com/AJ Roberts. AJ, have you got anything to finish off with?
We'll see you on the next episode.
Ciao.
Guys, thanks for the killer episode. Listen, if you want to take your fitness business to the next level, terminate your competition, create ultimate freedom, buy new houses, cars, which could blow up, travel the world, or open your own gym where you can lift really heavy weights, then head to www.thefitpreneurs.com/free call for details on how to apply for your free accelerator call. Until the next episode, hasta la vista, Fit Pros. Fit Pros. Fit Pros. Fit Pros. Fit Pros. Fit Pros. Fit Pros.